Crazy God story. A few weeks ago, I took a trip across the country with my daughter that was almost 1,700 miles. We were supposed to have 24 hours of drive time, plus stopping for things like food and gas and bathroom breaks and spending the night in Nashville. We left our house at 5 a.m. and we were supposed to be able to get to Nashville by like 9:30 or 10 with limited stop for, things that we needed to. And then the next day, we were going to have a much shorter trip. That's what we planned for. However, things did not go the way we planned. Instead, God interrupted our plans so that we could follow his plan. That first day, we hit traffic jams and detours and all kinds of things went wrong. And by midnight, we were still several hours away from Nashville. Now, we were driving my daughter to her new job on the other side of the country, and then I was going to fly home. And so there was no way for us to stop that night and then for me to be able to make my flight in time because of how much we got delayed. And so we decided to just drive all the way through the entire time. The next morning at about 7 a.m., we stopped at a gas station. I was at the pump. I walked inside, and there were these guys with the hood on their car up looking at it. They seemed confused. So I walked up to them and told them, "Hey guys, I'm a mechanic for a living. Do you need any help?" And they were like, "Oh my gosh, yes. Here's what's going on with our car. We don't know what to do." I was able to figure out pretty quick, what they needed to fix and get them on their way. And I was like, "Hey, can I pray for you guys?" And they were like, "Sure." So I prayed for them for a minute. After I prayed for them, I walked away and I just kept thinking, man, I should have tried to talk to these guys about Jesus. And something that my daughter says is, if you're following Jesus and you're walking in the Spirit and you think of something that you should have said to someone after you left, then it probably was just God didn't want you to say that at that time, because what he wants to be said is going to come out of you. Then that gave me some peace, but it was still kind of bugging me that I didn't tell them about Jesus. So I got to my car, I pumped my gas, and about the time I was done, they pulled up in their car and they were like, "Hey man, we just wanted to say thank you for helping us and for praying for us." And I just thought, man, if they're coming over here, God must want me to tell these guys about Jesus. So I walked over to their car and I was like, "Hey man, I just want to tell you guys today, in case nobody else has, that Jesus loves you. Do you know him?" And the guy that was driving dropped his head and he was like, "Man, I do, but I am so backslidden right now." And so I shared the story of the prodigal son with the guy and just encouraged him to get back on track with Jesus. And he was like, "Man, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now." After the conversation I had with that guy, I am positive that the trajectory of his entire life is going to be different going forward. And I'm going to hear about it one day when I meet him again in heaven. My daughter and I had to get to where we were going. However, our trip did not revolve around what our destination or our purpose was, but about the destination that God had for us. I believe that God orchestrated our delays so that a mechanic that follows Jesus could be at that place at that time for that guy. The next time that your plans aren't working out, realize that maybe God has a different plan for you in that situation.